whiskey this time.
Skip to your loo and do what you do. No need. It's probably better.
Yeah, I guess.
I want to have a guy on from work. He makes his own beer.
Oh shit.
And I want to have him on. He has like four beers he's gonna bring over.
Yeah.
And I just want to as we're doing it, just
Damn.
go over.
When we were at NAC when I was in the chemistry class at NAC, I always wanted to start brewing up some whiskey. I was like, oh shit, I know how to distill stuff now.
Yeah. So I thought about this yesterday when you left. We were talking about what I did at work. And I was like, there's no better person to describe to, because you were my lab partner.
Yeah.
So essentially what we do is everything we did in the lab, distillations, columns, all that business, but extrapolated.
On a super large level.
Yeah, so you're making trying to make 80 tons a month of product.
God damn.
So I thought about it, I was like, that's perfect. He's the person I did all the shit with in lab.
Yeah, and it's not just scaling it up on that. You know what I mean? You can't just take the same ingredients and take a bigger container and just scale it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was talking with the main chemie that was there today, and that's one of the things he's talking about. You never just do it in the lab, perfect it, and then all right, we're gonna scale this up from making 50 milliliters to making 10 tons a week. It just doesn't work that.
Yeah. I'm sure there's probably I'm sure the energy that you have to put in, the container around it, probably has to be I don't even know. There's probably a bunch of shit that I can't even think of that has to go into that.
The main thing is if it's an exothermic reaction, the ones we run, is just keeping it cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of it has to do with making sure you have the cooling you need to make sure that reaction doesn't run away.
Yeah.
And you just fucking blow it.
Yeah,
But the whole thing is for what they do essentially, so you have that process and their goal is to make anesthesia.
Yeah.
And then all you do in the engineering department essentially is how do we improve? Every year people come out with new model cars to improve shit. It's just all right, where are our bottlenecks?
Yeah.
All right, how do we improve that? You fix that, and then you look to the next.
I wonder if there's going to be just a point where you just can't do any. You're just going to look at it and be like, we can't do any more shit to improve this right now.
I feel like you can't though. You
don't think? You don't think you would reach a wall ever at that point?
So we have manufacturing and manufacturing and packaging rather, and I don't know. It's kind of thinking do you think cars? Because you could put it to cars, you could put it. Do you think cars would ever get to a point where it's all right, we're good?
Probably not, honestly. Especially now that you've now that you have self-driving technology starting to get in. Yeah, you probably would never stop improving. Could never stop improving on cars
unless alchemy comes back, makes a comeback.
Yeah.
And they just figure out how to be
do the Sorcerer's Stone,
chlorine, HFMOP, throw it through this machine, and
out pops
product.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's essentially what I do there.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. I love taking those chemistry classes.
Fuck yeah.
Super interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
Super interesting stuff. And the physics too. I took the first physics 1 at NAC.
Yeah, I took up to physics.
Fucking difficult.
Physics 2.
Yeah.
I thought you did take physics 2.
No, I took calculus-based physics for engineers at NAC.
Okay.
The first one.
Gotcha. And here we are, episode 8.
Oh, what's up?
Michael Lebus in his house.
Yeah.
My pizzeeps.
Pizzeeps.
So, post high school, we're gonna jump right on in.
Jump right back to it.
We had a dress rehearsal. Post high school, you decided to do a little traveling, take some time off, and I will let you take it from there.
Yeah. So once I graduated, while I was in high school, me and a couple of my buddies decided that we didn't really want to go straight doing the college thing, because college is expensive. So one of my buddy's sister's friends told us about this program called Woofing, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. And so essentially you work for somebody that owns a farm. You just do general labor or whatever they need for however many hours they disclose to you or whatever you agree upon beforehand. And then they'll give you food and, staying in their cabin or setting up your tent or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we decided to do that program. It was me and 4 of my buddies. We went out there to Maui, Hawaii. And, it was just, it was a very, very, interesting trip, and I recommend it to anybody who's in high school or any point in life. You know, we were talking about that before, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I was looking into it today after this morning. I went on their website and checked it out and everything, and I'm pretty much dead set on it.
You want to do it?
I'm dead set.
Dude.
Yeah, I think my time that I'm looking at for right now is going to be after college.
Yeah.
So when I get out, but like just the idea of going and fucking off for a month or
Yep.
two.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great fucking off for a month or two.
And they have it set up really nice. Like I said, I was doing the research on their website, and like they really try to accommodate you and make it as easy as they can for you.
Yeah. Dude, well, you sent me that Snapchat of the actual farm that I was at, Maui Dragon Fruit Farm. Dude, doesn't it look sick there?
It looks awesome. The
Yeah.
girl, that video that I was watching, I think it was 2017 last year.
Yeah.
The girl, she put together like a little 4 or 5 minute edit.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool of like
Yeah.
her experience, and it
Dude.
looked.
The best part of that farm and being in Maui was so like they would the farm owners would be around at that farm for like until like maybe 3:00 every day, and then they would just go to like the other side of the island essentially where they lived. And so we would the one day we like brought some there's a nude beach there called Little Beach.
Oh boy, Little Beach. That's a nude beach I'd be on.
Oh yeah, it was great. We went there, and so I'm like 18 years old, and like seeing naked women around was amazing. And like, but yeah, so it was fun, and we met up with a dude. His name was Jesse, and we essentially just picked him up because he was a hitchhiker. And he was like our age. He was 18 years old, but super cool dude, super personable person.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the beach, he like got the numbers of like 3 of these chicks, and they were like 23, 24. So we were like, yeah, fucking stoked on it. And like, so we brought them back to the farm like after the owners had left, and we like sent them on the zip line and stuff, and like they were digging it a lot. So it was really cool.
So that ziplining thing and the Zorb thing was on the farm?
It was on the farm, yeah.
Right on premises. Damn.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then you guys, you shacked up there, right?
Yeah, we had like a little like shanty. We call it shanty town. It was like a bunch of tents just like behind where no one could see, because they had weddings there too. So they didn't want people knowing they were like hippies.
Just kind of chilling.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing I definitely got to. I was like, wow, this like, some people might put me in the hippie boat, but like looking at these videos, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's another level even for me.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we built our own cabin out there, which was
really.
Yeah, we built our own cabin. They supplied us all the wood and stuff, and one of the locals, like, he was a carpenter, and he just helped us build the cabin. It was really cool.
Damn. And then in your agreement, what did you work out with them? So you obviously got you got a place to stay. Did you work out like two meals a day or 3 meals a day?
They would buy groceries for us, essentially however much we needed for the week. And we would work 5 days, 5 hours a day. And so it was a good fucking deal. And then if you wanted to do like the zip line or, you know, aqua bar or whatever it was, afterwards you could get paid $20 an hour cash. So it was like,
damn, so that's nice. You didn't even have to go out to try to find like supplemental income.
No.
It was right there.
It was right there. And it's weird, since everything's super communal, like you're not spending a bunch of money on gas. Like everybody would throw $1 in the tank, and since there was like 5-6 people there, you know, or you throw like a couple bucks into the tank, and that would last you for like a week. Damn. You know, it was nice.
Yeah, we were talking about just how that teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
And today I was like thinking about it. I was like, what if I fucking go and I just don't want to come back?
Dude, that's a possibility. But if you graduate, you still have the degree always. You know what I mean? You always have that credential. So you could come back and do it whenever essentially you want, right?
I guess.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it was just like, I got that. I want to do it. But I was like, you go out. I was like, would I like it too much?
I mean, would
I never come back?
You might. It's easy to get like to stay in and not want to leave.
Yeah, to get caught up in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like meeting just like a lot of people that do that are just free souls or free spirits, whatever you want to call them.
And just interesting people, like such and like an eclectic group of people you'll meet out there, like from all different like backgrounds, and just like why are they traveling is really weird sometimes, and just who they are as individuals.
You got any examples? I love hearing about
a bunch of examples, man. Well, I was telling you about the guy from Alabama who was, his name was Jaskaran.
Mm-hmm.
He was a newly like found Hindu guy. So he had like dreads, and he was like this plump vegetarian dude, but he was like the type of vegetarian that would eat like Cheese Whiz and crackers
and pizza.
Like not healthy at all. But he did it for like the moral reasons, I guess. But yeah, he was a very strange character. He would meditate like 8 hours a day.
8 hours
like
a
8
day.
hours a day. And they were like these weird meditate. I don't want to make fun of him because he was actually kind of a nice guy, but
just shit on him.
Oh, what's that?
Just shit on him.
Oh, I will. I fucking will. But the one time we were sitting in the main, like we call it the chill room, it was just like a shack that we like hung out in, and he was meditating there, and like all of this just randomly, he just like perks up from his seat and like starts like kind of like flapping his arms a little bit and making these like weird noises, and just randomly like, and just just not addressing it at all, and we're all sitting there, and he just does it randomly. And
oh my lord!
The fuck is, you know?
Do you dabble in meditation or like to practice any type of mindfulness or anything?
I've never tried it, but I think probably the evidence behind it speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's it can be influential. I think the biggest thing that it would do for me, I mean, like, you definitely, though, you're like a pretty grounded guy. Like if someone probably got to know you and talked to you, like you'd probably they might like assume you would, but like what the takeaway is like just for me, I call it coming back to baseline. And like it's really not an easy thing to do either.
No.
Because I'm the type of person who my mind's always going and going and going, like just naturally. And the idea is to sit down and stop that and just like be with yourself. Just be. And when you do that, like how do I explain this? It's like when you're in a room, like this room right now, if it was completely silent, it would sound different. Even though right now, besides us talking, like it's silent. But when you're able to do that with meditation, like, and you turn it all off and you're able to like flex your brain muscle, you come to that baseline, and you don't let like anything kind of come in or hinder you. If something pops up, you just like focus back down on your breathing. Yeah. So I've recommended it to some people, and they look at me like I have two heads, because it is kind of like a weird thing. Yeah. But if you are able to do it and you're able to get into it, not even just meditation, like mindfulness. I think that's missing a lot today with phones and distractions and people constantly wanting something from you. But yeah, it's a good thing. But 8 hours a day? 8
hours a day. He had it down. And I think it's hard for me, I would think it would be difficult. I've never tried it. But like if you don't even know essentially what it's like to not be experiencing all of your senses at one time. You know what I mean? Like you're always visualizing, seeing things, hearing things, touching something, no matter how small a detail it is. So I wouldn't even know what that feeling would be like, if it's like a feeling at all, of kind of blocking out all of those senses, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess you still, like, if you, like, getting deep, you still have stuff, because, like, you'll be sitting. Like, I lay down when I do it, just because of my back, because they say, like, get in the most comfortable position. So I'll lay down, but, like, I'm still touching things. Yeah. I'm still hearing, like.
Are you, like, visualizing things?
No, so when, like, the way they say to go about it, or one of the ways, is to, like, you get comfortable, and all you do is focus on your breath, and, like, just breathe. And when the idea is to clear your head, and then, like, so, like, I'll lay down, and, like, all right, get a couple breaths in, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I gotta get this ready for the presentation tomorrow. And then, like, and when you do that, you see how your thoughts just carry this momentum. Because like you know, you go through the presentation, I'm like, yeah, I got to be into work at 4 a.m. tomorrow. That means, you know, get in bed at this time. That means and then before you know it, a minute's gone by, and like I'm just like, whoa. All right, breathe, come back, and like bring it back down. But it's helpful in day-to-day life because like a lot of the reading you do on it is just talking about that momentum that your thoughts can carry, and how like you keep going and going and going and going, and meditation kind of teaches you like come back to baseline and shut that off, because it gives you also like I'm able to analyze things better. Like if something's really busy or really busy day, when I'm in it and doing it consistently, I'm able to just take like 2 or 3 quick breaths and like
allows you to focus more.
Like because it brings you back to nothing like influence you or no input. And then from there you're at your baseline and you're able to
That is true. I feel like when I'm supposed to be focusing on one thing, like one task that I want to do, things are always creeping in my mind from like the periphery, you know?
Yes.
Like it's always like I'm doing it and I'm focusing on it, but there's like things in the back of my mind that I'm always constantly thinking about or worrying about or you know, whatever.
Yeah, it also, another thing like you hear talked about is it shows you that you it's a weird thing to say if you've never like experienced it, but you are not your thoughts. Like they're kind of this thing that's a product of everything else that's going on around you. Like it teaches you that like, oh, okay, like this, when you get good at it, you're able to like mitigate or not necessarily like control your thoughts, which sounds weird, but like I think everyone knows that there's times when they're just like, what the fuck am I thinking? What?
Yeah.
Like, why did I just get the urge to like throw this chair through that window? You know what I mean? Like shit. I feel like everyone has that. So it teaches it, like you learn from that you are not defined by that, and you're able, like if you come back to that baseline, you're able to mitigate and control what's going through your dome piece a little better.
Yeah. Controlling the dome.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it to like, I don't know. There's some people that just don't take to shit.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people that
there's always sometimes there's that worry though that you don't want to seem like too pretentious when when you bring it up. I know obviously you aren't at all, but there's like it's meditation has sort of gotten that rap of like people who are like, I don't know, way too out there and just like doing it because it sounds cool, it sounds mysterious, you know? It's the same thing with like, also I feel like like, not to talk shit on vegetarians or vegans or anything, but they're sort of the same way. It's like if you want to be a vegan or a vegetarian, you're automatically put in that category of like, this person's fucking like full of themselves. You know what I mean?
Nowadays it's like if you're doing something, the act is completely separate from like what you're talking about, like the perception of it or how you're viewed, or just like immediately thrown. Like you said, if someone told me they were a vegetarian, not necessarily me, not to sound pretentious, but like a lot of people, if you hear like vegetarian or vegan, you get like mentally someone's just gonna throw you in a box right away. Like, you know, there's like stereotypes where like if you think vegan, you're gonna think of like some star child, like wearing all these beads and stuff, like bandanas. Where like there's like vegan rockers out there. So like that's why meditation's one of the things where like I don't talk about it a lot. I'll talk about it with like really close friends, because I'm like, dude, I think this could really help you. I've had some conversations like that, because you just get caught in the momentum of life. And like taking all the input that you do take in, it's really easy for your brain to just take it in and keep running with it. And keep running with it.
I wonder if that's like, if that could be like a recommendation for like people who are like, have like mild psychiatric disorders, like mild depression or mild anxiety. Like I wonder if that could be almost like prescribed, sort of in a sense, or like if that helps
as a holistic method. That's interesting. I know like it's been shown to like people that meditate and are able to do it, it helps with certain things, certain conditions or certain symptoms. it's hard though. Like it's hard the first couple times to sit there and just like say, okay, stop. Like, all right, focus on your breath.
Mhm.
It's extremely hard, which for a long time was why I wouldn't do it, because I wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
But I heard the way I got into it, the example that kind of like went like, oh, okay, where it clicked was I heard a guy talking about it, and he said, you're essentially like working out your brain.
Yeah.
And you're like, every time he said, every time you bring it, so you lay down, you start doing it, thought pops up.
Yeah.
And every time you go to bring yourself back to baseline to like, just focus on your breathing, like think of it as like a curl. Like you're flexing your brain muscle to be able to better control yourself and just monitor what's going in and what's coming out. Which is like when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Reduce stress, controls anxiety, emotional health, self-awareness, attention span, age-related memory loss, can generate kindness.
There you go.
May help fight addictions.
That's an interesting one
that
right there.
So not necessarily addictions, but that kind of ties in, like when you're doing it and you get better at it, you're able to shut down the thoughts. What I kind of got was, once I was able to do it better and able to just focus on that breathing for time, like you kind of treated whatever thought that popped up not as it coming from me. So like if something popped up, okay, say I'm doing it and I'm like going good, and let's say something pops up. I'm not trying to get fucking disclose some super personal shit, but like something pops up of like my dislike for someone,
right.
Which I don't dislike.
Gotcha.
It's just an example. Like,
Gotcha.
so like that pops up. I would like, the thought pops up, but you're able to like, you're separated from it, and you can almost like,
you're looking at it sort of from a distance.
Yeah. And then I was able to be like, why am I having this?
Yeah.
And then it was a really like emotional feeling, because it really felt like I like went into my subconscious, and it was like, oh, there's a hole here.
Yeah.
And this is the reason that like I'm mad at this person, or this is the reason like why am I just snapping off in traffic, or like a lot of things. And when you're able to do it better, when those thought pops up,
that's an interesting one, because I feel like psychedelics do a little bit of that same kind of business. Like I feel like you can almost sort of rewire your brain a little bit while you're on some type of psychedelic, like LSD or mushrooms, especially. I love me some mushies. But but I feel like you can definitely, like, you can get something from a trip. Like you can bring something back from that mindset that you were in from that trip. Bring it back to your day-to-day baseline living, which is...
it's definitely been proven. Like it's been proven that psychedelics are able to make your brain work and fire in ways that it previously wasn't not capable, but just didn't previously.
Well, I think I could be wrong on this, but I thought I read a study that said like certain psychedelics like LSD can help promote like neurogenesis, like making new neural connections in your brain.
That's absolutely 100% a thing.
And I was like, that's fucking interesting, especially with even with the meditation, the addiction thing. Like there are people who go, I don't know what drug it is, but they go to South America or some other place.
Ibogaine.
And apparently it helps tremendously with addiction, which is fucking so cool.
Well, so when I was into it, I wasn't, because I've had my crutches and my, fixes in life, but I wasn't doing anything. But I could absolutely see, because I'm a firm believer in just about anything you do in life, there's like some reason you're doing it. Or if you have anger or angst towards something, there's a deeper rooted cause. I talked about this with Steve last time a little bit. So like if I was doing it, let's say I was like chewing real hard. If I was doing it and really on point with it, like maybe I'm doing it and I'm laying down clear, and all of a sudden pops up like, oh, I could go for a dip right now.
Yeah.
And then that's where that like, okay, I'm separated from it, and then I'm able to go, all right, where did this come from? Like, where am I subconscious? Why do I feel the need to fill that hole with that? And like, why is that hole there in the first place?
It allows you to explore the underlying reason.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly
Yeah.
it. So like you like the couple I'm talking here like I'm no expert in it, and like
Right. Neither am I.
the
Just talking bullshit, pretty much.
the the really formative like sessions I had are really few,
Yeah.
but like I was able to see it can be really emotionally taxing,
Yeah.
because if something comes up that like everyone in their life has stuff that they like they just kind of wrestle themselves with, and like struggles, fears, dislikes, likes, like when you're doing it and you're doing it right, you're able to look into the cause of those, and almost all the time like the cause is um it's like a negative detrimental experience or something that happened in your past, that like that this is the reason you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like how kids that end up getting physically abused or tortured or
Right.
raped when they're kids, a lot of times they'll
It comes up and like manifests as something
yeah,
else.
it manifests in
Yeah.
maybe them being abusive, an abusive
Yeah, it's
partner.
like a repeated cycle type
Yeah,
thing.
and like something like that, that's a prime example where like I doubt someone that's really abusive is going to be meditating, but like I could see how you could like be there, that thought pops up, and then like you're able to just go, okay, like where did this come from?
Yeah.
And that leads you down into that past experience of,
Yeah.
but like just reliving that is fucking tough.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like it's really like,
It's
all
rough.
right, yeah.
And if I guess if the right like institutions were in place, I guess, to help people who like, because it's hard to be like, it's hard to try to want to help somebody who's an abusive person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Instead of being like, I would just want to punish that person.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably not the best route to go towards. You know what I mean? So if there were like mechanisms in place where you could put somebody with that type of like, I don't know if you would call it a disorder or anything like that, but to more, I guess what I'm saying is taking more of like a rehabilitative approach to those types of things.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I think that I think there's very, very, very few cases, like 0.001% of things I hear where I'm like, that does that person really like, is anyone ever not able to be rehabilitated?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when
I think there's definitely some people that you cannot bring back from whatever their problem is. You know what I mean?
do you
It
think
might just be just so genetically ingrained in them that they can't come back.
okay, yeah, so that might be like the 0.001% that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like when was reading one time about some kid that committed a murder when he was like 17,
Right.
just kind of out of nowhere. And the one of the topics of discussion was like, does he deserve to be locked up his whole entire life for something that he did when he was like 16, 17? And obviously he knew better, but like when you're that age, there's a lot
Right.
of things that are going on. You're not fully developed. Like
And where did he grow? I would like to know like where he grew. Like if you're around a bunch of gangs and shit, man.
Mhm. I think he
like-
was in. So the specific one I'm thinking of, he was in like, and this could be extrapolated to just about any crime, any case, any person, in my opinion. But the specific one I'm talking about is he was in an abusive home. I'm pretty sure. Like his parents were
That's
alcoholics.
a big one.
His mom treated him like dirt.
Yeah.
And the one day he was mowing a lawn, like he was doing landscaping.
Did he kill? Was it a girl that he killed?
Yeah, it was a woman, an old,
That's
he how did it happen? I don't remember exactly how it happened, but essentially he was landscaping, came into the woman's house, and like out of nowhere just killed her.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like when you read it, it's like, okay, at 16 years old, like you read the details of how the specific murder went down. It's like there was no, I mean, there's I don't believe there's ever any reasoning for murder, but like, you know how there's certain cases when like someone gets cheated on or someone gets played and like gang violence and there's murder. But like this specific case, it's like the kid just went in and just murdered this woman out of nowhere.
It could have been, I don't know much about psychology, but it could have been that that woman reminded him of his own mother and just got so angry, just like snapped.
Yeah.
And killed her. And it's like, where do you how much of that do you treat as like a punishable offense? So how much do you punish that person, and how much do you try to rehabilitate them? Because he killed somebody, so there has to be
Yes.
some type
Yes.
of repercussion for that.
I'm not saying I agree completely 100%, but I'm saying like at 16 years
Right,
old,
right.
does this person deserve to be locked up his whole entire life? Like
Probably.
I
It's
did
probably
so
gonna
much
cause more problems.
I did so much stupid shit when I was 16 years old.
Same.
Everyone did.
Same. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't murder someone, but like it's a known thing that like when you're young, your prefrontal cortex just isn't developed and your
Yeah.
decision making is impaired.
Yeah.
So like they were talking to him in it, and he was like, I mean, I don't know if it was genuine, but it was like, man, there's not a day that goes by I don't think about it and regret what I did.
Yeah.
Like imagine being 16 years old.
Yeah.
You do something.
Yep.
And now you're sitting in a cell at 50 years old.
Fuck.
Yeah. Like
Fuck.
I think he could like there's definitely a case for him to be rehabilitated.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I couldn't imagine. That's like that's like what? That's 34 years that he was in jail, right?
Well, I just used 50.
Oh, if he was, okay.
16 and 15 as he
I
was
got
young.
You, I got you.
He was either
Well,
like
still,
16, 18.
I
and
couldn't imagine being from 16 to now where I am at 23.
Yeah.
Like in jail, like how that would have shaped me. Those years are super formative, you know? Like I don't know how I would turn out.
Yeah, there's decisions I made last month that I was hell-bent on, like this is the good thing to do, this is the right thing, or buy something or do something, and I look back now and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What was I doing?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think there needs to be things like that. There needs to be a discussion around that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even older people, because a talk I heard was like about how a lot of people just like assume kids are young and impressionable and they get formed throughout their life. Like, is there a point where someone just stops developing or stops showing capacity to change?
Right. I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if someone commits murder at like 50 or 60 years old, you know what I mean? Like, are you still not able to go in and address those problems that caused it?
Yeah.
And rehabilitate yourself and reintroduce you into society? Or maybe even if you're not reintroduced into society, somehow set up like a program or a separate society where like you're able to not just fucking sit in
a cell all day.
Yeah, like
that is probably the worst. Probably not. I'm probably exaggerating here, but that's a terrible form of torture. You know what I mean? That probably should be reserved for the most like heinous people. You know what I mean? Especially solitary confinement.
Yep.
You know, like if you're in solitary confinement, you're gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
You're gonna go insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of readings, like a reading I did on that about just like how that is one of, like, truly, like you said, one of the worst things you can do to a human being because we yearn for like companionship or
that's such a strange concept though, that the worst thing, like aside from from physical violence all the way to anything, the worst thing that you can do to a human is not have other humans around that person.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy that's so built into us as like a species.
I wonder where that comes from. Like, why, like, we yearn.
Well,
it's
probably an evolutionary thing, I would think, because we're so fucking fragile, you know? Like, we're very, very fragile beings. So most of the way I think we've probably survived is just, one, our intellect, our brains, and two is our ability to cooperate with one another. Did you ever? I was reading this one book. Fuck, Yuval Harari. I forget. That's the author's name, but I forget the name of the book. I should remember it. My sister got it for me. But he talks about
the second thing that came up was Yuval Harari.
No, that's it. That's
meditation. The one that came,
Sapiens. That's the book.
Sapiens.
Yeah.
I think I heard about
Dude,
this one.
It's a fucking great book. He's talking about how that's essentially how we
$199 on eBay.
Yeah, but
I've definitely heard about this one. But continue.
Yeah, but he's talking about how like that was one of like there were multiple human species like back in I don't know when we were around. And, there's Neanderthals and then Homo sapiens and there's another type. But he's saying the Homo sapiens, their ability to take over to be the dominant human species from the Neanderthals was their ability to communicate with each other. They had a more complex language.
Really?
Yeah, and more like signs and ways to structure people to like form an attack or, you know, anything like that. And Neanderthals were actually probably I think their brains were slightly larger. They were probably more intelligent, but they didn't have a very complex language, so they couldn't organize each other very well.
So they had like better higher functions, but
Right.
not necessarily. And plus, you think about it, there's like, if you think about human history, there would never ever really, besides very rare cases, like when could you ever think of a reason someone would be completely in solitude for an extended period of time? Like, so you're born, you have parents, like, you know, back in those days. Sorry, I'm just trying to fucking not offend anybody.
Right.
Here.
It's hard to not to do that.
Okay, so
fucking people.
So you're born and like you're born into this tribe and you have parents there immediately and they're there taking care of you, and then as you grow up you're going to, like, even if you're a homo sapien, the tribe may be small, but you're going to rely on people for other things.
Oh, 100%. You would just be useless if you if you were born and did not have your parents.
Yeah, so like I think that.
Yeah.
So like when you're growing up, and then like I think where it might come from too is like, not that they're like, we've just never been alone.
Right.
We've never been alone, really.
No.
There's no reason that we needed to,
Mm-hmm.
and like we never have. So maybe that solitary confinement thing is just the fact of like you're put in there and you're missing these inputs that just about every human in history has got from other people, working in a tribe, living in a community, getting, you know, being able to work together with other people. So it might just be like we need that, or it could just be like, well, we've never experienced it.
Right.
Like
so it's so foreign to us
that like the brain just starts kind of
tweaking out,
yigging out.
Yeah, yigging out.
I don't know where that came from. I just
yeah,
but I don't think, like I said, I don't see any reason why, like, there's few and far between cases that I really read that I'm like, okay, do they deserve to be locked up for their whole life?
Right.
Their whole life.
Right. And it's and then you have like on top of that, it's like I feel like we got a real fucked up like system of laws or at least like system of laws in the US, cuz I don't know. I feel like people get wrongly convicted all the time, or if you have like large amounts of money, you can beat most cases. Like look at the O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Like, dude, obviously, like, come on, man. But like, fucking, he had so much money, he had so much fame that nobody really wanted to believe he did it, or he had so much money that he could just pay for the right.
Yeah, like get Cochran in there. And
yeah, exactly. And so
that's big with white-collar crime.
Yeah.
Like politicians and big white-collar crime, those guys never fucking go to jail.
They never go anywhere.
Like, I was talking to some other day with some guy at work the other day about everyone's on trial now from this in the White House, but it might have been Cohen or whoever's on trial. But I was talking to him, and he's like, man, I can't wait till he goes away. I was like, dude, chances are he's going to get charged with whatever he does, and you're never going to hear about him again, but he's not going to be in jail. And he's like, no. And I was like, dude, it's white-collar crime. There's so much money and power, and like it gets to a point when it's beyond money.
Yeah.
Like you have influence and you're doing things for people that it's like, this guy's not going away.
But sometimes there's like, they set up like a fall guy. You know what I mean? So maybe Cohen is the fall guy, and he actually is going to go to jail.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But it's like the Wolf of Wall Street thing.
Yeah.
At the very end, when he gets sentenced and he goes to jail.
Yeah.
And he's like, but for one fleeting moment, I forgot I was rich.
Yeah.
And it like zooms out to him in jail.
Yeah.
Playing tennis.
Yeah.
Like
they get the fucking the best treatment in the house, and that's like. It's also depending on who you are in society. Like I'm not going to say any names, but there's this woman that I know that she drove drunk and and killed somebody. I think she killed a grandma or something like that. 100% her fault. And then I have another buddy that I met in Tennessee, who is a felon because he stole $300 from it was like credit card fraud.
Okay,
Stole
hold
$300.
up before I let you go anywhere else, just for listeners and myself. What ended up coming from the girl?
Oh, I'm gonna bring it full circle.
All right. Let you do your
bring
thing.
it full circle. So he got the a felony for stealing $300 credit card fraud, and he got 3 years in jail. After gets out of jail, cannot find a job. Very difficult for him to find a job. He said he had a warehouse job, was working it for a week, and then somebody came in and was like, "Hey, this guy's a felon." His background check came back. He's a felon. Got fired right on the spot. And he's the like, I don't exaggerate, the nicest dude I've probably ever met. And this other woman killed somebody when she was driving drunk, so 100% her fault. She got, I think, a year in jail, and it wasn't even real jail. She would go there to sleep because she had family leave. She had a kid, and she
so
was
it was
like,
almost like a halfway house.
It was sort of like she would just literally go to the jail at night to sleep, and then would leave in the morning.
Oh my god!
To be with her kid, and then she would also work. And it was like, all right, that's fucked up. And she had like, she wasn't rich, but she was seen more of like this.
Affluenza.
White woman in society.
Yeah, like that. That affluenza thing was a big thing a couple years back. Of the kid's just rich and spoiled. He doesn't know any better, and he threw some massive party, and shit went down. Yeah. So like, and two, it's like situational. Yeah. Every single situation's different. So how can you come up with a cookie cutter answer for everyone? Like that your friend might have, this buddy might have not had might not have known any better. He might not have had any money or not. Maybe didn't know where food was coming from that night. And like, that's where like she may have just like, like you said, came from a wealthy background and was just living life and didn't give a shit and didn't care.
Well, she didn't come from a wealthy background, but she was.
Well, I'm not saying her. I'm just saying in general, like every case is different. Right. And it's like, where, like, does this person deserve, like, did they do this out of like, did they believe there was some type of logic behind it, or was it done because they are a criminal? Right.
That is that is a big differentiation. But why the fuck did this person do? Was it just because they were being just irresponsible, or were they starving?
Like were they kind of driven to this point?
Right.
It's like the reason there's so much crime in the inner city. You know what I mean? Like moms are trying to work 2 jobs to fend for their family, and like kids don't know any better to go out and just gang bang and to get what they can get. So I don't know, like the criminal thing is just one big kind of messed up situation, and the fact that we have like some ridiculous majority of the world's population, the US.
Yeah, fucking crazy how many people are in jail right now in the US. Compared to other countries, like European countries, I really don't think they jailed that many people, and their crime rates are super low. But then again, we're not Europe.
Half of the world's prison population, about 9 million, is held in the U.S., China, or Russia.
Holy fuck, man! We are like those three: us, Russia, and China. We're like the baddest of the bad.
And look at China. It's not even the top 3. China's like here, number.
Oh, shit.
So United States is right around.
It's just U.S. and Russia, pretty much.
United States is right around 700 population per 100,000. What?
So I think it's saying, because China has a huge population. So I think it's saying per 100,000
okay,
people.
So it's extrapolating it as more of a percentage.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like, why are we so much more broken if we claim to be... You know what I mean? Like, if we claim to be superior, then there's no reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like we just sort of
with less than
don't want to deal with our problems.
With less than 5% of the world's population, the U.S. holds roughly a quarter, 25% of its prisoners.
Shit.
That's ridiculous. Total prison population by country, 2 million.
Yeah.
And the next closest is China with 1.6. Yeah, I don't know.
God damn.
Need more love, man.
Need more love.
Need more love, peace, and meditation.
Nah, throw them all in jail.
Throw them all in jail. All right, well, I guess tangentially speaking, we can get back to your Hawaii experience.
Oh yeah. Fuck, where did I leave off with that?
Meditation.
Oh yeah. Wait, did I leave off with meditation?
Yeah, and we got into a big old sidecar.
But how did we get to meditation?
Your buddy from Alabama.
Oh right, he was meditating. But he was also weird, man. He was a weird dude, man. I'm not quite sure. So did you ever see how like Roseanne like said all that racist stuff, which she like said was Ambien?
Uh-huh.
I almost sympathize with her because that same buddy told me a story about when he took Ambien, and he said he just did not remember anything.
That's a real fucking thing.
It's a real thing.
That's another thing. Like, something happened, and at face value, it's really easy to go, oh, like, this woman's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason she should say that.
Yeah.
But, like, upon further, looking into it, it's like Ambien does that to people.
My God. Dude, I took Ambien. When I was in high school, my buddy would just like steal prescription pills from his mom a bunch, and he brought Ambien in the one day, and that was the first time I literally saw double. I was in like my music class, and I just stood up because like the bell had rung, and like literally saw double everywhere. Could not walk. These two like girls that were sitting next to me were like, this kid's fucked up. We should probably help him out of the room at least. And they like literally like kind of like moved me out.
Corralled you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like so this woman lost her job on a TV show, and there's like a lot of other history she has of substances and abuse. But like right away, outrage culture. We just want to demonize her, and shun her. Yeah,
people love to feel like morally superior.
Yeah,
always to point out other people's flaws. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but like, I feel like there's always more to the story than especially what's put on Twitter or what's put on any social media platform that's like a snippet of text, so.
Do you believe that's just human nature though?
What?
Like to just take it with what you hear and go with it?
I think people are definitely trying to reassure their own ideas. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they don't want to look more into a situation because it's already confirmed like a bias that they already have.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So like if someone wants to like, I don't know, if someone already had the idea that Roseanne or whatever was racist and they saw this, they're like, boom, I got my evidence. Don't want to look any more farther into this. I just want to say like, she's racist. Look at this tweet.
Yeah.
End of story.
And end a case, case closed.
Exactly.
And plus too, like the momentum thing. It's like with so much information too. It's like you can go like with the Roseanne thing. It was like it's easy to just be like, oh, Roseanne. Okay, what's the next? This is gonna blow by in a day or two. What's the next outrage? Like who? Like Colin whoever's up.
Yeah.
That Colin Kaepernick thing, dude.
Oh,
is
with the just
ridiculous,
dude. But great memes from it. If anyone's
Excellent
seen all the memes, they're very spicy memes. They're very they're wonderful memes. But
we got two meme connoisseurs.
Also,
right now.
the Eminem memes. Have you seen any of those? People making fun of Eminem.
I haven't seen memes, but I know it's really weird, man. Like I've lost a little bit of touch with just. I think a lot of stuff people our age worry about, like social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff I have older people telling me about, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. Like there's times I feel like some old head, like, oh, but like
probably for the best, honestly.
Yeah. I think it might have to be on purpose because like it's all like I try to focus on. I want the positive.
Yeah.
Like give me the good stuff, not like. But the Colin Kaepernick thing, I don't know what to make of it.
Of the Nike thing?
Just the whole thing. The whole
taking the knee thing.
It's been like 2.5 years now.
It's been a while. What I actually am not well versed on this. Did he like get kicked out of the NFL? Is he still in the NFL?
So essentially, what happened was he decided to kneel as like his protest,
right? And
he was. So this is another really slippery part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
it's a really blurred understanding of what the whole thing's about.
Right.
So, like everyone, if you talk to anyone, it's like everything's different of where this is coming from. I'm not going to stand up and show pride, and I'm not going to stand up. No, fucking video.
Goddamn internet.
I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. He said in an interview, "To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street and people getting paid leave, getting away with murder." So, from that quote, he's upset about like black people being oppressed,
Right.
and more specifically, like
People-
cops shooting
cops shooting anyone with murder.
black men. So he knelt for this, and this was back in 2016, right? And part of the problem is if you talk to, like, you could talk to anyone, and no one has a clear understanding of why he knelt in the first place.
Right.
Like, it got kind of distorted to, like, soldiers, disrespecting soldiers, or, like, the belief in, whatever.
Oh, because of the flag.
Yeah,
You do
there's...
anything to the flag, you're automatically...
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it kind of got like that for a while, and then there was, like, a couple other different ways that it got portrayed as the reason
Right.
that he knelt. So essentially what happened then, he went on, and so last year was 17. I don't know what ended up happening, but I think it was like his contract may have expired, and he essentially, like, just from him standing up for a cause, got blacklisted kind of from the NFL. So he wasn't, last year he didn't play on any teams, and no one really kind of wanted him on any teams. Like, it wasn't his choice.
Yeah.
He just got blacklisted because there's controversy involved in.
That's, I mean, the whole thing in general is a little crazy. That
Yes.
this whole thing got, like, the dude just took a knee. I mean, I understand it's symbolic and everything, but I mean, there's plenty more things to focus on than just this one guy taking a knee at a football. You know what I mean? Like, just, and like I said, I get it. It's symbolic and whatever, but yeah, there's plenty things to be worrying about besides this, like the actual root, like the actual problems.
Yes, that's
of like police and inner city, like how to root those out, and the actual problems of soldiers.
Yes,
like with PTSD and everything. Like, those are the things that should be plastered on the news constantly because they're visceral, real problems.
Yes,
you know,
he didn't do this to just stir up controversy, which is my problem with the whole thing, okay? He did this because he stood up for something that he truly believed in, which there's merit in. Like, there's unarmed black men that are getting killed every day in the United States. Oftentimes, there's not, there's no reason it should be happening.
Yeah,
and he stood for that.
Always very, very sketchy looking.
So instead of him standing up for this cause, what happened is people focused on the act instead of the reason the act was performed. So that's how it got skewed into, like, the flag, and you're disrespecting soldiers, and you're disrespecting veterans, and this and that. And the problem with that, too, there's, like, a lot of problems with the whole thing. The problem with that is the flag is a symbol, right? And symbols mean different, like, what the flag means to me could mean completely something different to you. What the flag means to us, I guarantee, is completely different for a war veteran.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, I look at it as kind of like, well, if it's a symbol, we're arguing about a symbol, and everyone has a different opinion on it, the symbol in his head of what the flag is may be like, okay, it's important, but not important enough that he feels it's disrespectful, where other people are going to look at it and go, like, that's the most disrespectful thing you could do, get out of our country.
Who gets to decide what that symbol really, how it's universally supposed to be, how it's universally supposed to feel to somebody?
Precisely.
You know?
Precisely. Exactly. And my take on it, so my opinion is so that, like, it's a symbol. It means something different to everyone. Like, I'm not a veteran, so I'm not as tied and not as emotionally attached with it. So I believe he has a right to do it. I mean, he obviously has a right to do it, but I believe there's merit in what he's doing, okay? He did it for the right cause. but that's me.
Yeah.
But now you get people who may have lost a loved one in battle,
Right.
and in their head the flag stands for something that their loved one died for, and now you're taking a knee and you're gonna disrespect it like that.
Right.
And like, just there, it just snowballed into this huge thing, nothing to do with black
Right.
black unarmed men being shot down in the streets
Right.
or being oppressed.
Right.
So that's why, to me, the whole thing is crazy. Where is the movement? Where is the organization? Where is the talks started about the reason he did it? Where are the talks about black men being shot? Like, where are the talks about oppression for black men in America? Instead, we're focusing on the act.
Yeah, it almost seemed like it didn't. That protest or whatever was sort of in vain because it didn't really. People took it and turned it into their own way to get angry at each other.
Yes.
Instead of it actually almost being effective, he definitely should not have been blacklisted from the NFL. That's definitely.
It wasn't like an intentional thing. It was kind of just.
Just nobody wanted the.
It was like
publicity.
no one wanted that controversy. Yeah, he wasn't. It wasn't an explicit thing.
Okay.
Done that I know of.
Yeah.
It was more just like, ooh, that's a lot of controversy. Do we want that surrounding our team?
Right. Right. I do feel for that dude because it's so difficult to kind of go against the grain like that.
Yeah.
Especially when you know people are going to get super fucking pissed at you. But you're like, I believe in this. This is something that I'm seeing that is disturbing to me, and I want people to know about it. And when you have that type of platform, when you're on like millions of television sets, I do get where he's coming from 100%.
Yeah, like the man has balls of steel, and how can you not have respect for him standing up for what he believed in?
Right.
Okay, put the flag thing aside. Like, the man took a stand for something that he believed in as a professional athlete.
Right.
That shows a level of intelligence that, like, I feel like a lot of people don't expect from a lot of people wouldn't expect from a professional athlete that they might just see as a meathead.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a bunch of fucking football players that, like, are just going out and getting really, like, fucked up and just, like, being, like, there's a whole bunch. I feel like there's a bunch of scandals with them, with, like, women a lot
Domestic
of the time.
abuse.
Yeah, domestic
absolutely.
abuse. And it's like, those things just blow over relatively fast.
Yes.
But this thing has been around, I guess, for a while.
Yet this is a cause that I think there's like merit in.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people probably believe it, but instead it got spun into it got changed from like him standing up or kneeling for something as opposed, like him kneeling for this piece of fabric as opposed to, all right, why is he doing it?
Right.
It almost goes back to what we were talking about at criminal. It's like he's doing this act, and people just want to ostracize him and call him out for the act instead of looking at the motivations behind it.
Right. Did you ever see the South Park episode with this?
No, I didn't.
Dude, it's so funny. They're like, everybody please stand or kneel or sit down for the Pledge of Allegiance. And like, he's like, doesn't know what to do. He's like kneeling and then standing up. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, those dudes are funny. South Park.
And then the problem is too, he did this, and then a lot of other players joined in. But we're talking about a league and an organization that is comprised of majority black males.
Right.
So now you have other teams participate. Okay, so here's where it gets deeper. You have other teams participating because you have black males who are in that same boat who believe the same thing. Boom. So they're going to participate as well. But then up high in the box, the owner of the team, a lot of them are just white, rich.
That is true. That's a weird.
So then they look at it with that completely different twist. Instead of looking at the cause, they're looking at like the flag, looking back at the symbol.
Yeah.
So like some owners boycotted it. Some owners
boycotted him.
No. Like told their teams, you're not gonna.
Oh, you can't do it.
You're gonna stand up for.
Ooh, that's like a weird possessive thing.
If I'm not mistaken,
you know what I mean? It's weird.
The whole fucking thing is crazy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of them said if you choose to not stand up during the national anthem, please stay like in the tunnel or in the locker room, during that time.
God damn. Meanwhile, these are the dudes that are making you all your money.
Ugh.
Ass face. Motherfucker.
Ugh.
You know?
What is going on here?
That's too much. That's too much.
And it gets deep. It goes even deeper than that too. That's just like the surface of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and Nike, supports him as an athlete.
Right.
For that, I think Nike supported him for taking a stand for what he believes in.
Right.
Whether what he believes in, I could be completely wrong,
Right.
assuming the intentions of a major multi-billion-dollar organization, but the man took a stand for what he believed in.
Yeah.
There's merit in that, no matter what he believes in.
Yeah. I agree. I was looking at this because I started getting into, I just started getting into trying to learn how to day trade with stocks.
Ooh.
And I was looking at it and I was like, if I had, because I only have $5 in my account, you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to trade with because I don't have much money, but I'm not going to trade with a bunch of money because I don't know what I'm doing yet.
What do you use?
I use, what platform do I use?
Yeah.
I use Robinhood because there's no fees.
Okay.
And then I also use this other software program called Thinkorswim.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was looking at this and I was like, if I had the money, I would for sure short the Nike stock, which means betting on it to go down.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of people are just the state of, just the way the U.S. is, they would be like, I'm not gonna buy from Nike.
Well, it did plummet major, didn't it?
It probably did. I didn't look at it because I wasn't. Go to Oh no, it's
this. All right, so this
go
is
to
1
5
day.
days.
Let's
Go
go.
5
Oh, we'll
days.
do a
Yeah,
month.
see, that is-
Holy hand grenade. All right, so we're right here.
Go
We
to
could do
for
5
sure.
days.
For sure.
So it went from 82
82
points down to
79.
79.
Which is actually not that.
This graph is very misleading.
It's very misleading.
I apologize to the
but-
listeners for that over. Yeah, it's
But still, if you shorted that, you would have made money off of it. I mean, it wasn't a drastic drop, but it did drop. That's
it's still a drop.
Yeah, it's a pretty large drop, and that's more than. Yeah, that's more than 1%. I don't know what percentage that is.
So where did this spike come from? This is where it gets slippery though, because
When did
a
they,
month earlier, it was at 79. It
Yeah.
spiked up for a couple weeks.
and now
They
it
make this
dropped.
announcement, and then it dips back
It
down to
drops.
79.
That's what I'm saying.
This was Friday, August 31st, and if I'm not mistaken, it came out this was a thing last Thursday or Friday
Yeah, I
that
think
they
you're right.
released
Let's
it.
see what percentage that dropped.
So,
Was it 79?
yeah, an 82. It's 3-4%, 5.
That's 4.7%, which is actually that's a decent percentage that you would want, especially in a day. If you could make that in a day, which is what happened,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Well, people were fucking burning their shoes over it.
Were they?
Yeah, expensive shoes. The same thing with the LeBron thing when he moved and they were burning jerseys.
Damn, man. Kids in China worked hard on those bad boys. They worked hard on those.
How
bad boys.
fucking outraged do we have to get until it's too much?
I don't know. No outrage is enough, my friend.
If that's the case, I
Just
don't
always
want
be
to.
outraged
I don't
all
want
the
to
time.
live here anymore.
I don't feel comfortable here.
God,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
but I mean, good for Nike. Good for them. They're obviously not going to suffer from this very much. Their stock's already going up, but even without that, they're a major company that this isn't even anything for them. They knew nothing bad would come from this.
They knew it was gonna come.
Yeah.
They knew this was gonna come. They're
Yeah.
probably happy that it was only 3 points.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Compared to what it could have been.
Yeah. That's the thing. They knew their stock probably was not going to drop. They're not going to be put out of business because they're a multi-million-dollar company.
No,
Just from one ad, that would be ridiculous. But
I do like the memes that come from it.
they're great memes.
I love
Dude,
it.
you used to be sending me memes on the daily. We were both working at Blue Mountain.
I love me.
They're great memes.
I love me some memes.
memes. Yeah, that was good.
But yeah, like I said, I kind of drew away from that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
The the meme game.
I liked not necessarily the meme game, but like I've started just trying to fill up. It kind of sounds like you're on the same boat too.
Yeah.
Like filling up my life with stuff that is in the here and now.
Yes.
And not some kind of like abstract thing that I'm just looking at this orb in my hand.
Yes.
Like
I used to watch a lot more Netflix than I do right now.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just trying to fill up my time with just skills and just create. Like now I feel like I have so much more of an appreciation. Like before, when I wanted to create something, like I've been like starting to write songs again, and like I've been getting into like making apps and stuff like that. But before, when I just to create, just because it feels good to make something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if somebody's using that thing that you make, it's super cool.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling. But like before, when I would like write songs or anything like that, I'd be like, I don't want anybody to see this. I don't want anybody to hear this. But now I just don't give a fuck.
That's how it is with this.
Yeah.
Like I've got, like talking to a couple people is kind of just like I'm doing it because I want to sit down with a friend and talk.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't care if I blow up. I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm probably never gonna blow up, but like I don't care where it goes. I don't like. I'll put it out there because I think there's some like. I think I can have people on that have insights and inputs that even if it changed one single person's life for the better in a little bit, I think I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I'd accomplish what like I came here to do. But like you're absolutely right. Like it's hard because you hear stuff so much like chase your dreams, you know, do things, don't worry about what other people say. And you hear them so much they become cliches, but until you actually like when you start doing things like that, you realize it's like, yeah,
it's
like
possible.
it's the reason cliches are like it's because they're true.
Yeah.
It just sucks that they get so watered down because you hear it so often. But like it goes back to just like what we were talking about yesterday. Like if I want to fucking, you always hear like, oh, you can always pick up and leave. But people are like, no, I got shit to do. No, like if you like obviously don't do it at the detriment to someone else, you know, don't just blow off your wife and kids, but like if you don't have any major things tying you down, like you can leave. You can do it.
And you got to know when you're making excuses and or when you actually maybe do have some obligations here, like a wife and kids. But even then, there's ways to, like, depending on what you want to do, if you want to travel, I guess if your wife isn't down, that's probably not an opportunity. You probably can't do that. But still, there's even if you do have a wife and kids and all these obligations, you can still do a lot of the things that you would want to do, even if you have to compromise a little bit on them.
Yeah, but instead of like finding hobbies, finding interests, like you're making apps, you exercise, you do music, you're doing stock day trading, like you're filling your time with things that are constructive. They're skills, they're things that you're able to develop as a person through doing. Yeah. But instead, a lot of our culture, like ranging in all age range, you know, not just one generation. Like everyone is, instead of doing these, finding things to constructively occupy their time, it's really easy to just reach in that pocket and go on Twitter, go on Instagram.
Look at the next outrage.
Yeah, or go and scroll for an hour or 2 hours.
Yep.
And it's just like...
It's so sneaky, too. It's like you don't even notice how much time you're wasting just looking at apps and shit.
And the big thing is, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Nothing
that's going to help you.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to help
you. I, like, now it's like, I go on Instagram and, like, my main thing for Instagram a lot of times is motivation. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at dirt bikes. I'm looking at, you know, guys that are living their dreams and doing what they want. And that, like... That
drives you to do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's like there's people out there doing what they want, striving and reaching as high as they can. Like anyone can do it. So why the fuck not me?
Yeah, and I think there's like a misconception about like getting good at something or being successful at something where you just like it's like this linear progression of like you'll get a little bit better and then you get a little bit better and then you get a little bit better. But I feel like it's not like that. I feel like there's like a major drop off. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, I really am it feels like I'm getting worse at this. And there's like a mounting pile of knowledge that I have to learn now. And so I think most people give up then. But then I think it almost shoots up like, especially like I taught myself guitar. And I felt like I was just not getting anything for a long time. And then just over the span of like a shorter period of time, it kind of like my knowledge and I like connected more in my brain.
Yeah, it's weird how like this right here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking
So
about.
looking at a photo, on one side it says success, what people think it looks like, and it's just that straight linear progression, and then on the other side it's what it really looks like, and it's just this squiggly line going every which way.
Everywhere.
But there's definitely you have a point to that, because like I've started to view success in a completely different light too.
Yes.
Like it's not like the only thing that is a given, I believe. I don't even think it's a full given, but the only thing that can guarantee you success is working your ass off.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean you're going to go every single day and you're going to get more, like you're going to get better by the same rate,
Yeah.
and in X amount of time
Yes.
you're going to be there. Like you said, a lot of times it goes like you might struggle in the beginning, pick it up, progress, and then there's like a lot of the times there's a fall off.
Huge drop off.
And I feel like that drop off makes the difference, makes the winners versus the losers. Like at that point when you drop off and you go like, okay, maybe I'm not as good at music as I thought. Or
Right.
maybe I'm not as good at baseball as I thought.
Right.
Maybe I'm not as good at basketball as I thought. Like that's the point where you dig deep
It's
and
a hard hit to take.
you
Yeah.
go, okay, well I can either like believe those stories, believe those narratives, and just give up because that's the easy route, or I can just like keep fucking grinding.
Yeah.
Keep grinding.
Keep pushing.
And another problem is the cliche, the thing that fucked me up a little bit for a while was do what you love.
Yeah.
Do what you love. And it was like there's things I love to do, but things I was like the older I got, I was like, okay, that probably wouldn't fit exactly what I want to do. So like baseball, for an example. Like I would love to play professional baseball. I'm not saying I could have ever done it. I couldn't have. But like if I could have, like looking at it now, it's like that's like a lot of traveling, a lot of being away from your family.
You really got to think about what you want to do, not
Yeah.
just right now, but in the future.
Yeah, so from like what I was getting at, like you hear people do what you love. And this really came about like, you know, I was at school and it was like, because I'm trying to figure out, you know, you got to figure out what you want to do in your life. So it was like, do what you love, do what you love. I was like, okay, I love some things, but like, I don't know if I love them. You got to find something you love, you want to do your whole life. So I did some research, and like some of like the biggest takeaway I got was do everything.
Yeah.
Try everything,
I
and
100% agree with that.
through that,
Yeah.
let it come naturally for what, like fucking podcasting.
Yeah.
Like if you would have told me 3 years ago I would have had a podcast, I would have just like,
No.
I would have been like, dude, get out. What is a
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah.
But like I got into it, and it was just from exposing myself to as much as possible and
Yes.
starting listening to them. Dirt biking is another thing where it was kind of like I as a kid I was never into it. Where like a lot of kids, they just know it for their whole life, but me, it just came to me. Running is another. Well,
Yeah.
running I did my whole life, but like I kind of came back to it.
Right.
So like that's a big struggle for people where it's like, yeah, but I don't know what I want to do. Well, you're not gonna know if you don't put yourself out
Right.
there.
And don't think that you have to immediately choose a path right now. Like that's the problem with, I think, a little bit going to, you know, everybody's different. So this is just a general thing in my mind or whatever. But it, like going to college right away and like just making that really big commitment, especially it's not a big deal if you don't have to go into debt. But if you have to go into debt for it, you're making a large commitment that like you're 18 years old, right? I have no idea even what I want to do 10 years from now. But so it's like getting locked into that position is sometimes a rough thing.
Like,
and even if you, I don't know, and so like even if you work your ass off really, really hard, you still might not succeed. You know, there's even probably a large probability that you wouldn't succeed. So you should probably do the things, just focus on the things that you like actually doing.
Yeah.
You know, and not thinking about, like, think about the outcome a little bit, but don't make it that defining reason why you're doing it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like happiness, it's like that like another cliche. You know, the what the fuck's it saying? Like it's not about the destination but the journey,
Yes.
which is like absolutely true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people, you talk about, like you see people online who are successful, like their journey. A lot of times, almost every single time you hear quote overnight success, it
Yeah.
was years in the making.
Oh, yeah.
So like you don't expect to pick something up and be fucking the best at it in 6 months, but rather pick something that even if you are failing, you're enjoying it, which sounds really weird. Like
Yes.
take pride in your failures
Yeah.
and take that as a learning experience.
No, 100%.
Which I think people miss out a lot too. Like it's you know, it's like doing this. Like I'm sure now I'm a lot, I'm going to be a lot better at podcasting and talking.
Yeah.
Just next episode alone.
Right.
And then extrapolate that to 10, however many episodes. So it's like, but I'm enjoying the ride no matter what. I'm enjoying it. And same thing with the running, training for the marathon. Same thing with everything I do, like school. I do enjoy it. And then like there's times I get a fucking like C on the test and it's just like, fuck, man, fuck. But you just like people just here do what you love. Some people don't know what they love. You have to be exposed to something to know you like it.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to know you like something without ever doing it.
Right.
So that's like my biggest, like the biggest word of advice is like I didn't know I was going to do podcasts.
Yeah.
But I had to expose myself at some point, and
Yeah.
here I am.
And that's the weird thing is like even doing all those things, like you even doing like the podcast, like you don't know what this will branch off of. You know what I mean? Like it could be, you could get another opportunity from podcast. So as long as you're doing stuff and being active, like you don't know where those endeavors will eventually lead you. You know?
Exactly. And like right now I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
No one's going to watch, like probably fucking a handful of people are going to watch these. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm happy doing it. I'm
Yeah.
happy to sit down with buddies and friends
Yeah.
and just talk, talk
Yeah.
talk
And
about
I'm happy
whatever.
to do it, even if those only for those 12 people. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's fun just to come here and just
Come on, I got 13 friends.
fucking 13 people maybe. I don't know. I won't be listening.
Zing! Oh, come
I'm
on.
just kidding. I'm definitely gonna. I'm putting this on my gram, man.
Oh my gosh. Stop
all like,
it.
All like 100 followers.
Stop it.
man.
I'm blushing.
Yeah.
But no, I'd like it. I just to pick something that you're gonna enjoy the road
Yeah.
and not worry about the destination. That's like a big takeaway. A lot of it too is like people's impression of things.
Yeah.
Like the circles some circles everyone has like, I think a lot of people have different groups of friends that are like completely different. Like the group of friends I hang out that you're in is
Yeah.
completely different than like the other groups of friends I hang out with. Like
Right.
you guys it would be kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
gears grinding if I got
Yes.
you guys together, but like the one group I hang around with a lot, like it probably just look at me sideways like, what are you podcasting for? But it goes back to just like, don't give a fuck what people want.
Don't give a
This is what I want.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Like, love it or hate it.
Yeah.
I'm here.
And that's part of what will trap you into is people's expectations of you.
yeah.
Like oh, I want to do this thing, but people are gonna look at me sideways if I do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do it.
And it goes back to what we were talking about with traveling.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to just get caught up in this right here, what you're experiencing, and thinking the world's really small, when in reality it's huge.
fucking
Like
huge.
different people of different colors, creeds, religions, backgrounds, and like traveling makes you see that. It's like, well, just because like this little area that I live in temporarily, just because like maybe I don't see people that show interest. Well, like I was out wherever, and like it definitely seemed like there's an interest there.
Yeah.
And then extrapolate that to the 7 billion people on Earth.
Yeah.
It's like, if you are interested in something, there's someone out there who would also be interested in it.
100%. And it's even traveling around the U.S. Like people who are like each other, who are kind of like-minded, will congregate in similar areas, because they want to be around each other. And so you get to kind of test out those waters and see, where you would fit in the best and where you like hanging out the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's another positive for it. But
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I think I mentioned it here before. Like I really just kind of occupy my life with like 4 or 5 major things.
Yeah.
And like I let that take up 98% of my time.
Yes.
And okay, I'm not saying I'm fucking not. I don't go on Instagram. I'm not saying I don't do that stuff, but like, it's minimal compared to what it used to be, and compared to what a lot of people are.
Yeah.
A lot of people participate in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I hate just sitting in that room when you're looking around and you're with 5 people and 4 of them are on your phones.
Yeah. That's a weird situation. But it's so normalized now, but I mean, I don't know, if you brought somebody from, I guess, 20 years ago or 10 years, no, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, you just like, they showed up and everybody was looking at their screen, be like, whoa.
I heard somewhere, like, if you brought someone from like a while ago, let's say like 100 years ago, like, or someone like even longer ago, like, they would think that there was probably some type of magic.
Yeah.
Going on. Like,
oh yeah.
What is this thing that like people are just walking down the street staring
just
at?
Looking at.
Why are they like? Is this some type of hypnosis that they sit at this chair for 8 hours a day and stare into
like
this thing?
Like historians kind of deciphering what happened in at this time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They would probably come up with the completely wrong answers to what we were doing. Like, oh, they were looking at this screen as a ritual. Or whatever,
yeah,
like
exactly, like that.
But no, we were just looking at memes, man. We were just looking at memes, dude.
There's a quote I love. I think it was from Eleanor Roosevelt. It was like, simple minds discuss people.
Oh no, there was great minds.
Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people.
I have seen this quote
before. I love this quote because I was thinking about it today. Like, you can almost extrapolate this to anything. So, like, small minds would be talking about Kaepernick as a person and why he's a piece of shit, okay? Average minds would maybe discuss, like, just the event of him taking a knee, where, the great minds are going to discuss why he's doing it and what it's from. And I keep this quote in mind a lot because there's like times I'm sitting around and you're with people that like sometimes you're just like, oh yeah, like they're just sitting here discussing people, like bitching about people, bitching about what Greg the neighbor did, or bitching about what.
I used to try and get involved with those conversations because I thought it was like, that's what you should do if people are talking about people. But now I just don't even want to like interact. You know what I mean?
Isn't it the most liberating thing though?
Yeah, it's just like, I'm just not gonna. If you're talking about it, I'll just stay out of the conversation.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like, do we really need to bitch about, like, another one was like, I feel like a lot of the times when you're discussing people, you're you're either going to discuss what you like about them or what you don't like about them. And a lot of times, like, you get caught with people just like bitching and bitching and bitching about other people, where it's like, all right, everyone has their flaws. Let's maybe even just step up the next level to discuss an event that happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there are some people that do that, they're really smart. They have great minds. Just sometimes it's good to talk shit. But like the people that is their only form of discussion is talking about people. Like I think about this with people who are so engulfed with like the Kardashians or like different types of celebrities. You know what I mean? Like they are just, their whole life centers around talking about what the fuck Kylie Jenner did or whatever, or just, I don't know, defending these people that they don't even know. Like you don't know who she is, and yet you have these, I feel like they act like they know that person.
Yeah. You have no idea. Put that energy into something else.
Yeah.
Take that energy. That's essentially like, I feel like what you did. Like you took that energy and just were like, all right, well, I'm going to like, let's step away from people bitching about other people and let me take this energy and do it into something that's going to build me up as a person.
Right.
As opposed to like continue to sit there and bitch about it.
Yes.
And like, it's, when you're able to do it, it's just liberating. It's nice. Like bitching about people it sucks.
And honestly, it was super stressful for me, like trying to like be like that, like just talk about people all the time. Or, it's like, oh God, I'm not fitting in properly or something. I don't know exactly what my mind was thinking.
I think it pairs with like not caring what people think.
Yeah,
like,
and it's so much better not
like,
to give a shit.
That's kind of a loaded statement because like you definitely have to care what people think,
Right.
but not
There's
in.
levels to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Like-
like if you're running butt naked down the street and you're like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. Like, no, you should care a little bit. You should care that much to where you're not running butt naked.
Maybe
down the
just
street.
like a Speedo.
Yeah,
Maybe just
like,
a Speedo.
wear a Speedo. That's acceptable. Okay, but yeah, so there's definitely levels.
But when it
to
comes to people trying to tell you what you can't do, no,
Yeah,
that's like the idea of like that's like the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
You know, when he tells the kid like, don't me as your dad, don't ever even let me tell you what
Yeah.
you can't do.
Great scene.
Yeah, that's a very very tough movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, what do we got? Let's talk some diet.
Oh
Diet
shit,
and exercise,
motherfucker.
'cause
we
I
were talking
was-
about this yesterday.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I didn't want to disclose this, but I will because I feel like a douche.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Michael and he's
Yeah.
the first guest I have on twice,
Uh-huh.
and yesterday we had some technical difficulties and did probably about an hour 20 and lost the whole thing.
Gone.
So just gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, kiddos.
Yeah.
Learning curve. I'm still here. I'm improving.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we lost that. We talked about a lot, and one of the things when it got cut, we were talking about diet and nutrition. What
what were we talking about when we left off?
I think it branched into like
We were
the-
talking
the
about-
marathon, and then it
Oh,
got
yeah.
into.
I was saying, dude, now I feel like I got to step up my game with running because I'm running, like I said, 4 miles like 2 times a week, but I'm also doing strength. So I do like running, day off, lifting, day off, running.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I feel like I got to step it up with the running because I'm only doing 4 miles, and I thought I was like, oh yeah, dude, I'm getting real good. But then you're running like 21 miles on your long runs, like fuck, dude.
Well, it's just time.
Yeah.
It's just time.
Yeah.
I think probably going through what I've been through, I think probably the healthiest way to do it is be able to do 6 to 10, like
Yeah.
once a week, and then maybe 1 or 2 other runs, shorter runs during the week. I think that's like a really healthy approach. Not everyone needs to go out.
Do you believe some people say do training, not straining? So you're not like straining yourself when you're running, like you're not overexerting yourself a little bit.
Yes. That's
Yeah?
kind of what I'm getting. Like,
Okay.
I've never heard it put that way, but essentially in my mind, my reasoning behind it is along those lines. Like,
Yeah.
it's good physically for you. It's good for your heart. It's good for like resting heart rate.
Mhm.
It's good obviously for your muscles.
Oh,
and
for your brain, dude. You're
Dude-
talking about running, right?
yeah,
Dude,
like
for your brain, there was a study that I read that it reduced like the symptoms of Alzheimer's patients by like 40% just doing cardio.
wow.
Like that's one of the main things that I think you can do to prevent some of that stuff is just like neurological
Well, like,
difficulties.
Today when I was on it, I don't know how to put it, but like my brain just is functioning at a different level when I'm running.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's like I don't know how to explain it. Everything's just crisp.
Yeah.
Like it goes back. So I'm not meditating, but it's like almost the complete opposite form of meditation that I was talking about earlier. Because instead of stopping my thoughts and like kind of trying to break up that momentum and negative thoughts, like when I'm running, the thoughts that I'm thinking about are like pure good thoughts, and the momentum that is like that gets carried is good. So like I'm on one, I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about with you today. I'm thinking about like, you know, situations in my life or working them out when I'm running, which is like, it's crazy. I don't know the mechanism behind it. I don't know if it's just like me, if it's like a placebo thing, but like there's absolutely like a crispness to your thoughts
Some
when you're
of the
running.
best ideas I've had when I was running, like
Yeah.
especially for like my own life. I'm just thinking about. I'm just letting the thoughts in, essentially.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're on a different level. They're crisper, and you can really you can analyze things a lot more efficiently,
A lot clearer.
a lot clearer, and I think it like honestly, I feel a little bit more creative when I'm running and after I'm done running.
You're absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm running, like there's times I should really 100% be writing things down.
Yeah.
Because I forget a lot of it just, you know, comes and goes. But like I know there's thoughts I've had running that, like, whether it's regarding the podcast, whether it's regarding work, whether it's regarding just other facets of my life, like things that I'm just like at the time, like, wow, like that's good, like this, and that running just facilitates it. And that's just on top of all the things it does for you physically.
Right.
But going back, so you said training, not straining.
Training, not that's what I heard, and I was like, oh, I kind of
So
like that.
that's kind of where I get the 6 to 10 from, because really, for the average person, like consistent marathon and really long distance running is probably not the best for you. Unfortunately,
I've just like marathon running. You're saying is bad for your overall health.
Probably if you're.
I actually agree with that.
If you're doing it on a regular basis,
right. Because I feel like you're putting a lot of. I was actually having this conversation with my brother the one time, but I feel like you're putting a lot of strain on your joints if you're running very long distances.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like running a marathon has absolutely been shown to weaken your immune system. So one of the big supplements like they tell marathon runners to take is vitamin C, because that's like your big immune system booster. And like you said, the joint thing is tough because that's luck of the draw. That's genetics. That's DNA. That's like what your biology. Some people, like there's ultra marathon runners who are in their 80s and they're still going at it. But someone like my dad who ran his whole life, he's had both knees replaced now. So it's like that's the fucking roll of the dice. It's like, is this something I can sustain?
Also, I don't know if this would. There probably is a lot of genetics involved with it. But also, I wonder how much of a positive effect yoga would have on you if you were like a marathon runner. Like how much it could spare your joints.
I would think.
That's one thing that I do want to get. I do like a little bit of yoga before I weight train every day. Like I have a small routine that I do, but to really get into it, like once I have a little bit more money, I definitely want to start doing some yoga classes. So
my best advice would be do it after you're weightlifting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like yoga is essentially stretching, right?
Yeah.
So when you're stretching, you're elongating your muscles. And like if you think about it like a rubber band, essentially when you're weightlifting, if you have a rubber band in your hand, like lifting a weight, like boom, a big bench press, you're taking that rubber band and snapping it real quick. Right. Whereas when you're stretching, you're taking it and you're pulling it apart really long, but you're holding it there. And then when you let it go, it
doesn't retract.
So since you want that explosiveness when you're lifting, like the idea is to have it like go in cold, not cold, like you want your blood flowing, but cold in a sense of like all you did was get your blood flowing.
Right.
So you want that workout, and then afterwards the stretching helps for the lactic acid and to elongate those muscles and help them recover.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing. Like you know what I mean? The one thing I read was like if you had to lift, if there was a life or death situation, let's say, and you had to lift something, like you're capable of lifting it, but it's heavy, like you're not going to sit there and you're not going to stretch.
Right.
You're not going to get ready for that. You need your muscles you need that rubber band at that very instant to just snap and push or pull whatever it may be, which is the idea behind like stretching after your resistance workouts.
Well, isn't there some people that have quick twitch? Do you ever hear that? Quick twitch?
Well, everyone
muscles?
has it. There's quick and there's...
Yeah, but there's people who are more prone to quick twitch. I don't even know what you would call it, as opposed to long twitch. Like long twitch, if you're more like refined in that, you're like a marathon runner. But if you're quick twitch, aren't you like a power like you're more prone to being a power lifter?
I think it's like counterintuitive. I think fast twitch is best suited for So fast twitch is like your weightlifting.
Yeah.
Sprint race is pole vaulting and CrossFit style events, and then slow twitch is efficient in using oxygen, delayed muscle firing, and you don't fatigue easily. So that's your marathon running. That's cycling, long distance triathlons. Exclamation point.
Boom.
But yeah, I think like you can train those though. Like through lifting, you better.
Yeah, you're training the fast twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we get on this?
I forget where did we stem from?
How do we get on the fast twitch? But yeah, like
talking about stretching. After
yes.
you, so I could see that after you work out, definitely with increases like getting rid of the lactic acid and just increasing blood flow.
Slow twitch muscles, long endurance, faster. Yeah, but like when you essentially like if you're gonna do lifting, you want to just get the blood flowing. So that's your dynamic stretching. Like for me, like everyone's different. Like for me, actually, most days when I'm running, like even long, it just get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
Just get up and go. Like I don't have
any. You don't stretch before you go. Oh shit,
no.
I do.
No.
Yeah.
That's So like if you're gonna stretch, you're gonna want to do so for something like running. You're going to want to just get blood flowing. You're going to want to do your high knees, you're like swinging your legs. Yeah, everything associated with like movement. I'm a little stiff.
Right.
That's your dynamic. And then static is that that afterwards to help the muscles recover. But like when I run, if I'm going on a long run, I just like I warm up on my run.
Okay.
Like and it takes like the reason I like people are just like they hear even just 10 miles and it's like how do you do that? The crazy thing is like when you start running that distance, you see like I've had runs where it took me six miles to like loosen up and be like, oh, okay, here we go. Now I'm in my stride.
Right.
Like 6 miles. So
when there's probably a breaking point there.
Yeah, but like it's all different, and then it's obviously depending on your diet, your sleep, your everything with that. But like everyone you talk to, like running, that's how it like long distance running. That's how it is. There's always like something that makes you warm up. So like I think I'm like, well, like back when I was like the longest I would do is 3 miles. Like what was I?
Right.
Like it's good. I'm not saying it's bad for you, but it's like wow, I had like more.
Yeah.
And then the other weird thing is when you're running, if you're on a 20-mile run, you feel completely different. Like your aches and pains at 3 miles could be completely different from mile like 13 or 14.
A lot of times, like when I do like 4 miles, when I started off, like if I get to a mile, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, man, I'm definitely not gonna make this 4 miles without stopping. But then at that same run, when I get to like 2 miles, I'm like, this is in the fucking bag, and then I just keep going.
Yeah,
you know?
Which is like that's what I love about it. It's such a dynamic thing. Like everyone's just like, oh, you just go out and run. Like yeah, you do, but there's so much that's involved with it. Like I have a run. The run I did today was 5 miles total, and the one portion of it is through the woods, up rocky, like difficult terrain, uphill. And like you get like this rock section that's uphill, probably about the length of a football field, and really rocky too. Yeah. So like I have to watch every step, or I'm just gonna bust ass. And like you get to the top, and the first time I ever did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get back home yet. And at minimum, like the fastest route back home was probably a mile, a mile and a half minimum. But like I just got to the top of that hill and like just kind of dogged it for a couple 100 yards.
Yo.
But after that, like you said, I didn't even like think of it.
Yeah.
Which is why I love that run now, because like I get tough, like it's tough early, but then I'm like that like almost warms me up, because a lot of my fastest times for my miles, I think I don't know if I mentioned this, but like my fastest times are not like, I don't go out and run a mile and run my fastest times. My fastest time came on that same exact run. Like I did that, and 3 miles in, I have this section that I'm like, okay, this is my mile section, which oddly enough is an uphill section. For some reason, I kick ass uphill. So it's a cul-de-sac I go up. It's a really, really steep uphill, and then the downhill, and that whole loop is about 1 mile. And then this is at about mile 3 of this run, and that's when I'll do my I'm like, okay, now you're gonna beat your mile time today.
Damn, that's way different, because my first mile is always my fastest mile.
Okay,
it's always my fastest mile. But I haven't honestly timed myself in a a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be interesting to see now where if that had changed at all,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
And that dynamic could be different because like I'm doing, what
Yeah.
I'm doing is a lot different than what you're doing.
Right,
My
right.
body is adapted a little bit differently
Yeah.
than yours is
Yeah.
too. But I don't know. I thought I fucking finally found something. I was like, yes, it's good. I'm addicted. And then like doing research, and it's like, this probably isn't the fucking best thing. Because if it wasn't bad for you, like I'd probably be one of those guys that just kept doing
just
it.
keeps running. Well, that makes me think of these like ultra marathon runners, man.
Yeah, and I think that's like that. They probably just got that genetic card that they're able to do it.
100. What is it? I don't even know how many. They do like 100 miles to qualify for an ultra. You have to do 100 in 24 hours. 100 miles in 24 hours.
That's like the qualifier. I guess we were looking it up the other day, but like I could have sworn it was 100, but they say like the definition of an ultra is anything more than a 50K, which is 30 miles.
What?
Yeah.
And
it's just it pisses me off. This shit's bad for you. And like I don't want to chance me getting that genetic card or not.
Yeah.
Cuz like my mom is fine. My mom could still be running. She's just super busy.
Yeah.
But my dad, on the other hand, like I said, he had those 2 knee replacements.
Right.
So, like, I'm not going to I don't really want to bet on that and be like, all right, am I going to do this? Because, like, I would love to be able to run 100 miles.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
One of my mom's friends, she does like triathlons and shit, man. And she's like, I don't know her exact age, but she's over like 40. They're like, God damn, man. And she like, she doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't have any like serious joint injuries.
Oh, it's addicting.
It's dude. Yeah.
Yeah. What does your diet consist of? Like, are you?
Honestly, I fall off the wagon a bunch. But there was a point where I was trying to cut down. Like you were saying, like what, like 40% carbs you were doing at one point?
Yeah, right now, like it's probably 40, and 20 between carbs, fats, and proteins.
Yeah, I was probably at one point I was probably like 20% carbs.
Okay.
And then like probably like between like 50 and 60 fat, and then the rest was just meat.
Okay.
Yeah. But I eat a lot of, I have like, do you ever see those bags of like broccoli that you can just throw into like either a steamer or into the microwave?
Yeah, like freezer bags.
Yeah, except they're not frozen.
Okay.
They're like actually, yeah, so you just throw them in the microwave. I eat a lot of those. I cook up steak a bunch. And I usually do in the intermittent fasting, although I break that probably at the most like 3 times a week.
All right, that's
sometimes,
not bad.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. But you can break it.
The studies behind it would say that's acceptable.
Yeah, no, that's so yeah, a lot of steak. A lot of vegetables.
That's good. That freezer, like you said, it wasn't freezer, but you can just as easily freeze them.
Right
like
in there,
those are huge for me at school and even here, because it's like. It's convenient, and like I'm checking the ingredients and everything, and like it is just truly frozen vegetables.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing.
Yeah, it's just you freeze vegetables.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's good. And like the big thing, like I was saying, is like people hear carbs and think pasta, bread, but like those are the bad carbs.
Yeah. Oh, I got something for you. So, did you ever hear of Pliable? It's in Bethlehem. It's this place that like. They make do you ever hear of acai bowls? Acai bowls?
Oh yeah, acai bowls.
Yeah, acai bowls. So they sell those, except you can have like a banana base or like a coconut base or whatever.
Okay.
And like there's I think like 69 grams of sugar in it, and I was like, this is like me and my family get it all the time. And I was like, this is like essentially eating ice cream pretty much. And they're like, no, it's fruit. It's good for you. And I was like, yeah, you're getting extra nutrients from it, but you're still getting 69 grams of sugar at one pump.
It's funny you brought this up because I actually read something today.
Yeah.
And the article was like, can you eat as much fruit as you want?
Yeah.
And according to this one article, they say, like you said, you're getting other nutrients, and those other nutrients do mitigate the effects that the fructose has. Whether or not, like I've done a lot more, there's a lot more that goes into it than that, and I don't know if that article is accurate.
Right.
But like with the fiber that you get, they say it's not.
It's
like
probably better than just ice cream, I guess, because you're not.
Well, it's
getting all that
100% better than ice cream. But
Yeah,
the question is it?
Is the sugar? It's really the question is the sugar.
Yeah.
Does it affect you the same as if you're getting it from
Well, no, it
ground
doesn't.
up fruit?
No, it doesn't.
That's what this article is saying.
Because this article, they touched on it, but like essentially when you eat, so high fructose corn syrup is they take it so from sugar cane.
Yeah.
And sugar cane, like what they do is they strip it. They do the same exact thing. This is why refined grains are just about the same thing as sugar. Because what they do is they take like something like sugar cane that has a bunch of other nutrients, and fiber is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And they strip it of that, and they just break it down to the fructose. And sucrose and fructose, there's a mixture, but fructose is the big one. And that's what high fructose corn syrup is. It's concentrated. Same thing with, that's why they call them refined carbohydrates, because they're refined, that they strip it of the not endocrine, but they strip it of the fiber, and there's 2 or 3 other nutrients that are stripped from it, and you get strictly the carb. Whereas when you consume, whole grains, you're getting it with fiber's the big one, and what fiber does is it
moves stuff around in your gut
slower.
Yeah.
So like the big thing with the carbs is that immediate insulin spike and that glycogen. But when you get fiber, it
slows down. Actually, I think I did read something about this. It slows down the absorption of sugar when you have fiber.
Correct. So you don't get a huge insulin spike, which is like the big killer when it comes to carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And that like leads to your energy drain. But like if you're mixing it with a lot of other stuff, like that's great.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't take that as conclusive. I'm constantly just doing research on it. But like fruits are probably good for you. Like the big thing with fruits too is micronutrients.
That's the thing, yeah.
Right, like antioxidants, raspberry,
and just your normal vitamins that you're getting from fruit. You know what I mean?
Like
most people are deficient in just the basic vitamins.
Yeah, berries are huge. Like any type of berry, raspberries, blueberries, each one, has a different profile, but like a lot of the antioxidants and your micronutrients that you get from berries are great. But there are fruits that like the fiber is lower compared to the amount of sugar, so it's going to be a bit more of an insulin spike. Like bananas are a big one. Yeah. Bananas the fiber is a little lower compared to the sugar, so you're going to have a lot more of a spike.
It's banana's a weird one though, because I think I'm almost 100% this is true. When it either ripens, some of it turns into fiber, but when it's unripened, or that might be the inverse. So when it's not ripe, it has more fiber in it, but when it is ripe, those fibers essentially get turned into simple sugars.
Yeah.
Simple carbohydrates.
I don't remember what it is, but there is a difference.
There it is. The green bananas. So the unripe bananas.
Okay, so here we go. One benefit of green bananas is high resistant starch content. For anyone trying to avoid that, the high sugar content, green bananas are an option, where yellow bananas are not. So green bananas they're gonna have, more
undissolvable fibers.
Yes, which is gonna lead to a lower insulin spike. Whereas yellow, you're gonna probably spike up.
Oh, and it says for type 2 diabetics.
Yeah,
which tell them to eat unripe
which
fruits.
is all about the
sense.
insulin and like. But yeah, there's like a lot that goes into it. I think, what I realized happened with me was like every food, it just seems like it's just on a cycle where like, is it good or is it bad? One week it's good, one week it's bad, and like I kind of get in these ideas where it's like, what the fuck was I thinking about today? I was thinking about salmon, like farm salmon versus organic salmon. Farm salmon's so bad for you, but so you hear that, but it's like, it's still better than a fucking bowl of ice cream.
Right. So there's so you gotta take it. You can't just take it at face value if someone says.
Yeah, for me, like for some reason, for me, like when it's just like farm salmon's worse than organic.
This is a perfect example of it. If you are eating a high-fat diet, a lot of the times, like it was conventionally known that causes heart disease, high blood pressure. But then there were a bunch of studies that recently had come out that said when you mix it with it wasn't the fat alone that was doing it. Like you can eat a high fat diet and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're mixing it with like refined carbohydrates and simple sugars,
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting in a pro-inflammatory state, that's really what, like we were talking about yesterday with the, because when you're inflamed, the sides of your blood vessels are getting damaged.
Yeah, go through that for me one
Yeah.
more time. Like
So
the
essentially-
mechanism behind.
Yeah, so essentially the plaque that cakes around your arteries is a LDL particle. So it's a package of cholesterol and fat that is either it's itself damaging the cell, or if you're in a pro-inflammatory state, you're like if you, and this is why diabetics are super at risk for heart disease, is because when you have a high sugar content essentially in your blood, it damages your blood vessels. And so once you have damaged blood vessels, these tiny LDL particles and also like immune cells, like macrophages, the macrophage tries to engulf the LDL particle for a number of different reasons, and then it goes into your blood cell and cakes around. They're called foam cells,
Mm-hmm.
and they cake around your arteries.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a combination of a bunch of things.
Yeah, that like you said, like, and it goes back to everyone's different, and like okay, fat was bad.
Yeah.
But then fat with carbohydrates is bad.
Right.
You want.
And also, it depends on the type of carbs you're getting too, right?
Yeah.
So it's the thing is, it's complicated. And it's fucking
to say the least.
Yeah, and I see the appeal to just be like, I don't give a this is too, it's changing all the time, it's too complicated, I don't give a fuck, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want to eat.
Yeah.
For people, but it's not the best. That's not the best road to go down.
It's not. Fasting's a big one. I read one today about, I mean, it was a study on mice.
Yeah.
But my takeaway from fasting is the idea of giving your body a break from digesting.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think people don't think about, like, how that works. Like, when you put something in your body, 5 minutes later, it's not done.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like,
No, right.
hands clean. Like, it takes a while. So the big thing with fasting, where the benefits come, that from what I believe is, and what I've read is, you're getting it, like, you're eating in your window, and then you're giving your body a break from digesting, where it is then otherwise able to regulate other hormones and functions, instead of having to worry about constantly digesting food.
Yeah, I think that's I feel like there's a lot of evidence that's pointing to that.
And like, it's the thing now is it's still kind of in its infancy.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's some conflicting data.
Yeah.
There's a lot that points to the same stuff, but there's some conflicting stuff, and it's still in its infancy, so it needs like a lot of long-term stuff. But it just makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Humans 10,000 years ago didn't have the luxury to eat 3 meals a day. There was days you were going, you didn't have food.
Yep.
So the body was optimized, and like the biggest things are like the hormones, like human growth hormones and all that. So like fasting, I think, is a really big one. There's been studies done of just like people eating the same exact diet, one fasted, one not, and like the benefits are there in the fasted diet.
Yeah. I think for sure. I think it definitely does make sense to give your body kind of a break. But
yeah,
there's a place. Did you ever hear of cryotherapy?
Yeah.
There's a place that opened up next to my house. That's a cryotherapy place.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I should check it out.
There's one I want to do, I think, with my week off before I go back to school. I think I'm going to do, I'm drawing a blank here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull this up. I'm going to do the float tank.
Oh,
there's
shit.
There's one in Bethlehem that you can do.
Really?
Yeah.
How much does it cost? You know?
$60, unfortunately. But that's so $60 for 90 minutes, an hour and a half. So, but they like you go you go in there and they, you get the
Yeah.
whole deal. They give you everything. But that's like, that goes back to the meditation thing. Like
Yeah.
you're in a state. That's the next level above meditation. Like you were saying, you literally have no sensory input.
Right.
So your mind's going to go where it wants.
Yeah.
So, hormones that are affected by fasting, insulin, growth hormone, which is huge.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest one.
Electrolytes, man. That's for you.
Growth hormones known to increase the availability and utility of fats for fuel. So that right there is probably what we were talking about yesterday with my running. Like
Right.
running fasted and then my body being better fat adapted.
Yeah.
Electrolytes, noradrenaline.
Epinephrine, man.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I think fasting's, if you're not gonna change your diet, at least like just try that.
Yeah.
That's
Just all right. Continue eating whatever the fuck you want to eat, but just do it in a fasted window.
yeah. Give your body a chance to do other things
Yeah.
besides regulate your digestion.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ending point.
Yeah. I think that's good.
We are at 1 hour and 55 minutes.
Fuck. That went fast.
Did not feel like it, did it?
No, did not. Did not at all.
But yes, sir. I'm glad to have you on for the second
Yeah,
time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us today, ladies and germs, and we'll talk to you next time. From the X Compound, I'm Jared. Peace.